Ladies and gentlemen of the Halloween Horror Nights online community, may I have some decorum, please? It appears to me that as of 2 days ago, at 9:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there was one word posted on the Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood Facebook page. Famished. Thus set forth an outrage wildfire that spread throughout the world. Well, if you thought that The Walking Dead wasn't returning to Halloween Horror Nights on both coasts, well, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. You see, in the world, money talks, and we're all buying. Thank you very much. Oh, I have a camera in front of me. I don't know where I am right now. I wasn't filming anything I'm aware of. I just camera in front of me. Just got an announcement. Okay, it's time to do a video, I guess. So, I got a couple words for you guys before we get started, and I'm going to mention the fact that we're going to talk about The Walking Dead returning to both coasts this year. It's going to be the second of 2 shared intellectual properties on both coasts. And that means that, as far as we know, according to leaked lineups, this is the end. Didn't do that on purpose. But think about it. If the shoe fits, use it as a phone. This is it. There's no more. Will we share scare zones? I doubt it. I really do. I think this is the end of it. This is completely the end of it. And I'm thinking, just to be frank, oh, maybe I should talk about that later. Okay, now, this announcement was given a couple days ago. It came out of nowhere. I had the famished word that was on the Facebook page, and then it was announced for me on the East Coast while I was working. And then I wasn't able to do a video the other day, and I wasn't able to do a video the other day because we've been busy with Pop and everything, so that's the reason why you're getting this video so late. But latest 2 days for me, so that's not terrible. So, here's what we saw via the Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood Twitter feed. And this year, it seems like marketing has put the kibosh on a lot of things, like, I don't know, rapid-fire reveals, and waiting forever for an announcement or 2, and basically not knowing what they're doing this time around. But I think they know more than we think they do, because honestly, I really believe that this is all being done on purpose. And the purpose will be revealed as of opening night, or the official reveal of everything as of the end of this month. But we'll get to that. Let's talk about The Walking Dead, shall we? Let's start with Hollywood, because I'm starting with Hollywood because Hollywood has the most information. And the information is as followed. In the aftermath of the zombie apocalypse, there is one lesson you need to learn if you want to survive. The living can be as dangerous as the dead. But this lesson was learned the hard way by those who followed the signs of Terminus. People who journeyed to this professed safe haven discovered quite a different reality, one too horrible for words. The truth is, danger lurks everywhere in this desolate landscape that was once America. Places that once offered safety and comfort, they've become death traps. Humans becoming increasingly inhumane. Hope is dead, and there is no place that's truly safe. You'll follow in the footsteps of the human survivors as you try to escape the horrors of cannibalism in Terminus. A lonely backwoods church cursed by the sins of its pastor, a FEMA camp where the government has lost all control, and a sprawling warehouse facility where a mysterious new threat that call themselves the Wolves. Not Davey and Eddie, not those wolves. At least I don't think. Anyway, are ready to spring the ultimate trap. Get ready for the biggest, longest, most gruesome maze ever built in Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood history. The Walking Dead. Wolves not far. Now, what do we mean by the biggest? Well, John Murdy basically quantified it by saying, from square footage, this is the same size as ours in Orlando last year. It's not in a soundstage. It's actually located in Soundstage 28. Basically like the setup there. Like, not actually in the soundstage. It's located, like, in front of Soundstage 28. It's like a big pathway right in front of the soundstage. And it's not going to utilize the soundstage at all. It's a big, giant tent. I know that's a redundant statement, but it's a giant-looking tent, and it looks like bigger than any other tent I've ever seen in Hollywood. Now, granted, they're not the same sizes as our sprung tents, but square footage-wise, this being the longest in Hollywood's history, and as long as ours last year, I'm really curious to see exactly how they pull that off. Now, the scenes are huge, the casts are huge, and there's going to be even more walkers, survivors, and the such included inside the maze. Now, the maze is the empty lot, like I said, the empty lot that's adjacent to Transformers, if you go by it when you go on the studio tour. Now, the last 2 seasons have been a primary focus on the prison, the West Georgia Correctional Facility, that we know very well if you've been to the event in the last couple years. Gone. Not this year. No way. New environments, new scenes, and we're going to see what actually takes place in Terminus. All the evil things, all the terrifying things. And when we start, it's going to be... you're going to see walkers, obviously. But after Terminus, you won't see a walker for a while. But much later on, you're going to see tons of them. It says that humans can be just as dangerous as walkers. The original working title for this maze in Hollywood was to be The Living and the Dead. Quite interestingly enough, Mike Aiello decided he wanted to use this, or A&D in general wanted, or marketing, one of the ilk, decided to use this for our maze in Orlando. So we're going to be talking about that. Now, that sounds really interesting. It sounds like Hollywood is going to get to, if you are not a fan of the show and not a fan of The Walking Dead's presence at Halloween Horror Nights, you get to feel our pain, because you're going to get to experience exactly what we did last year. Now, granted, I will say right now, I will state this, I never watched an episode of The Walking Dead. I'm not going to. I'm not against the show, technically. It's just the fact that I don't have time. So I don't have time for it or in my life. So that being said, if you are a fan, you pretty much dug 2014's House and Maze. I love 2013 because I didn't feel like you had to really be a fan in order to enjoy it. The only thing great about last year was the scenic, and I really loved the really awesome, like, PSs to the icons in Terminus, or, like, the entrance to Terminus. So that was really interesting. And it's going to be called Wolves Not Far, and I'm really curious about that. We're talking about the wolves, or I guess that would be, I don't watch the show, so if I get this wrong, I'm sorry, but the W walkers, the walkers with the big W on their head. And it sounds really interesting that what they're going to do, and I'm curious to see how Hollywood pulls this off. They're going to take our template for the biggest maze ever in the history of their event, and they're going to put it towards Season 5. I'm really curious to see what they do. So, it's not in a soundstage, it's located in a vacant lot, basically, is pretty much what it is, next to Transformers. But doesn't matter, because I really think that it's going to do quite well. John Murdy himself obviously has a lot of boo birds, that a lot of people that are they're mad about The Walking Dead returning for the 4th year in a row. Well, Murdy pretty much shut them up by saying, you know what, The Walking Dead is horror right now, and The Walking Dead is the hot property right now. Whether we like it or not, people are willing to go see it, people are willing to go buy it, and people are willing to shell out hundreds and thousands of dollars to go through it at Halloween Horror Nights every year. So will The Walking Dead leave? Not anytime soon. There's going to have to be something seriously different to happen on both coasts for Halloween Horror Nights to lose The Walking Dead. Now, I think it's just another house. Obviously, now, I said a while ago that in Orlando, it's basically going to be just another house, and I think that's proving to be correct. In Hollywood, on the other hand, with the fact that they're going to use the gimmick as in the longest, most gruesome maze ever in the history of the event, I think Hollywood may still have another year or so before they go away from it being a focal point. It may be the focal point of the event this year. I doubt it's completely the focal point. I think they're headed towards Crimson Peak being like the main attraction. And obviously, what I'm going to guess to be announced at Scare LA, Rock Festivals, I'm pretty positive that's going to be a main attraction. That and Crimson Peak are going to be the main attraction, and I think the strange uncertainty about what the outside-the-box property may end up being, that probably will propel the event. Don't think The Walking Dead is mainly a cornerstone of the event. It might be, but only in Hollywood. I don't think that happens in Orlando. Speaking of Orlando, now, some of the goriest moments were captured from Season 5. There's a grenade blast that pins this unlucky soul to the wall as walkers feast on the survivor that's still alive. And one of the most horrific scenes will play out as you try to wind your way past the semi-truck. The walker traps. We saw it in the video where basically you see the semi-truck, the back opens up, and thousands, I know it's not thousands, but like a ton of walkers just come out of it, and it's going to be glorious. And one major thing that I'm really looking forward to, and after talking to a coworker the other day, really got me super excited about this, is the fact that there's actually going to be walkers who are going to be waist deep up in water. And apparently the Del Arno food bank, the warehouse they're speaking of, there is, it like completely floods. I don't know this, obviously. I'm just going on what I've read here. And it completely floods, so we're going to have a dry path to go through, and we'll probably have, like, wet walker... They really will be wet. I don't know why I put up the quote marks. But, like, wet walkers on the left and right of us, and we're going to have to go with the dry path through, and we'll probably get spritzed with water. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. Should be pretty awesome. Really looking forward to see how they do that. I think that would be great, and I'm really curious to see exactly how they pull it off. Now, the question is, the million-dollar question is right now, and I said it on Twitter, where is the location of The Walking Dead in Orlando? Well, The Walking Dead, The Living and the Dead, basically has two locations it possibly could be. And the two locations are as followed. Now, there's been a rumor ever since the list came out that it was going to be located in the Parade Building. Parade Building, of course, being the location No Safe Haven, which was my first house I liked of The Walking Dead, and the first house I got to experience of The Walking Dead. Granted, I've only gone 2 out of the 3 years of Walking Dead, and soon to be 3 out of the 4 years of Walking Dead, but that's another story altogether. This has been the house I liked the most, the one that I thought that you didn't have to be a big enough fan of the show in order to get, and that's the reason why I liked it so much. I love the environments, too. Now, will it be in the Parade Building? That was the original rumor. Well, it's interesting because some people that were doing some detective work found out that there were lobster traps that were located outside the Parade Building. And lobster traps don't say anything about The Walking Dead, but maybe they're walker traps. You never know. It's anyone's guess. So that possibly will be back in the Parade Building, which is going to stick, in essence, 3 IPs in the back corner of the park with Bill and Ted. The back corner of the park is going to be popping this year if that happens. On the other side of the coin, there is a rumor that there is a chance that 21 will locate The Walking Dead this year, and it'll be back in a soundstage for the 2nd year in a row. That soundstage has not been used since 2013, when it split Cabin in the Woods and Resident Evil Escape from Raccoon City. So, will it be in a soundstage and be with the other soundstages, Freddy vs. Jason, and a couple really awesome originals and something that is rather hairy that hasn't been announced yet? That's a possibility. There's good reasons to have both of them, but like I said, with what could possibly end up being the house that could be in that location, if it's not The Walking Dead, I'm more curious to see how that would work out, because obviously through the rumored list, you see that the location of the Parade Building and Soundstage 21 is between The Walking Dead and something that has not been announced yet, and that is the rumored Anniversary House. Now, the Anniversary House, it has been rumored to be kind of like the Hallowed Past, and like a sequel to Hallowed Past. And if I remember correctly, the original setup was a prop warehouse. And a prop warehouse equals the Parade Building, because I've done it in the Parade Building before. But, especially on an anniversary year, especially for 25, I would love to see if this location would actually get a soundstage like it deserves. I'm really curious to see what they do with that. It should be really fun. So yeah, I'm a lot more excited about Walking Dead this year than I have been previously, basically because I've been hyped up a little bit. I mean, I don't know anything about it more than that. It's just a couple of things that I kind of wanted to touch on real quick before we go. I have a couple more, a little bit of tidbits of information before we get off here. Halloween Horror Nights Orlando, I'm going to talk about them, and I'm also going to talk about Hollywood a bit before I end this. Orlando decided they wanted to do a social media meetup, and they had a contest recently that basically was hidden really, really, really well, and almost no one that I know of really knew how to get to it until like the final minutes before it was done. And it was only open for a very short amount of time. I think it was maybe a couple of weeks, if that. And you could win entrance to a social media meetup that's on the last night of Halloween Horror Nights. And it included park-to-park tickets, which is interesting, as well as tickets for Horror Nights that night and entrance into the social media meetup. And it also included like valet parking as well. So I'm really curious to see where this is going to go. Now, 4 people were selected. I know one of them, Ryan Roscoe Zwarfy on Twitter, and also he's on YouTube as well. He's another Horror Nights updater. I don't really get a chance to talk about him very much. He got entrance. And Captain Tom from the different forums, like Orlando United, I believe he's on Orlando Informer. I'm not positive on that. I know OU, but I don't remember the rest. He got in, and someone else got in that I was aware of, and I don't know who the other person was, but I know who the fifth guy was. This guy right here, Sir Owen Disney, got in. So I will be in that meetup, and I'm very excited for it. Probably going to have Joe along with me again, actually. I haven't quite decided yet, but I'm pretty sure that's probably going to happen, depending on how his schedule lines up. Because I know his job is very, very taxing right now, to say the least, when it comes to, like, downtime. So we'll see what happens with that. So there's supposed to be more entrances into that social media meetup throughout the event, so keep tuned in to the Twitter feeds, the Facebook pages, Instagram, and even now Snapchat, HHN Orlando on Snapchat, and you can find out more information about this social meetup for Jack's Ball. I'm really looking forward to that. Should be awesome. Now, on the heels of that, there was a website that launched, which was moments.universalorlando.com/Halloween. And when you go to this, you found a contest, and this is Orlando's contest for this year. And this is also information that is being broadcast on blog.universalorlando.com. It's a sweepstakes to win a trip to Halloween Horror Nights 25. Now, if you win the grand prize winners get 3 days admission to Universal Orlando and Islands of Adventure with Express. Plus, they get 2 nights of Halloween Horror Nights tickets with Express, round-trip airfare to and from their locations. Obviously, that gets them to Orlando and back to where they come from. And if somebody wins that's a local, then they'll work with you on that, obviously. Maybe give you like a town car or a limo or something like that to really make it sweet on you for the people that don't fly. Ground transportation from NCO all the way to your hotel, and it does include accommodations, on-site accommodations. Doesn't say where. Usually it's Cabana Bay. Occasionally it's been Royal Pacific. I think it would be crazy if they did Hard Rock or Portofino, but you never know, maybe. And if you are staying your vacation in the right time, you have entrance in that social media meetup I just mentioned. And if you want to enter that, there's going to be a link in the description bar to tell you guys how to enter that. You have up until 11:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on August 31st. So 30 days from today, you have to enter this contest. So it's only for U.S. residents and people from the District of Columbia. So, and by that I mean Washington, D.C. So, basically, you can't enter if you're like from the UK or anything. That sucks. But I know they have their own contests too, so hopefully they'll get some of those sooner rather than later. I think that's only fair. Now, on the contest term, there also was a contest that was released a couple weeks ago through Fandango.com. And Fandango.com has a VIP Weekend of Horror, and this is done through Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood, and it is through the promotion of Crimson Peak, Maze of Madness. Now, what you win here is 4 front-of-the-line passes to Halloween Horror Nights to experience Crimson Peak Maze of Madness. You also get reserved seatings for the live show, and I'll talk about that in a minute. 4 tickets through Fandango to see Crimson Peak, which opens on October 16th, which means in Hollywood you get to actually pull a Dracula Untold. You get to go through the house before you see the film. Hotel accommodations in Los Angeles, round-trip airfare to LA, and ground transportation between the hotel and your airport. So you check that out. There's going to be a link to the description bar to find that out. It's through Fandango.com. So check that out. Those are 2 great contests if you want to win a way to get into Halloween Horror Nights on both coasts. Speaking of Halloween Horror Nights on both coasts, I'm going to end with a Hollywood and an Orlando tidbit to finish your video here. Let's talk with Hollywood first. But first with Hollywood is the fact that through Instagram today, it was confirmed that the show that is going to be technically replacing your 7th maze is going to be featuring the Jabberwockies. And it's official because it went through Instagram. And I'm pretty sure in the coming days, I don't think it's weeks, coming days, you're actually going to see more information officially from Hollywood in aspect to making that official on the website. And due to the fact that John Murdy really likes Figure and likes working with him and has worked with him several times in the past, I'm guessing, and this is also an idea that my good friend Aaron, Sheppy the Volus on Twitter, he's also a member of the Horror Nights Updaters, something he brought up a while back, and that is the fact that this possibly could be music by Figure. And the idea I have is through a hashtag that's listed on Instagram, and the hashtag actually is Boogie Monstars. So this screams pronunciation, not pronunciation, that's not the right word. This screams, this is the promotion right here. So I'm going to guess we have Jabberwockies, Boogie Monstars, featuring the music of Figure and the Universal Classic Monsters. I'm thinking the Boogie Monstars are not only the Jabberwockies dance troupe themselves, but also the Universal Classic Monsters. So I think this is going to be a high entertaining, high energy show that is going to take a lot of people away from the other 6 mazes and the scare zones as well. And even the people that ride the rides. So I'm really curious to see what Hollywood does with that. And the first video we see, I'm sure, will be posted quickly after the event begins, as long as someone can get that video footage. And I'm pretty positive, I'm looking at you, Sharp Productions, that this happens. So I'm going to end with the final tidbit from Orlando, and that is the fact that on July 29th, there was a video that was filmed by Patrick Braillard. And that's interesting, because Patrick Braillard doesn't film commercials. It's really interesting. You would notice him as the guy that's spinning on Lady Luck's Wheel of Death in 21. Well, basically, there was a video, and there's 3 pictures listed on the Halloween Horror Nights Orlando Twitter feed. One is a yellow seat, which looks like it's spiked, and it's got blood residue on it. Obviously, that person didn't make it. And a very, very familiar, like, lit-up red arrow, which makes me think something, and I'll bring that up in a minute. And also, there is a pink tutu and some really noticeable black, like, fishnet stockings. Well, that only means one thing and one thing only. Sir Owen Disney's getting another thing he wants this year, and that means Chance is returning. And this is the rumor that I've had for a while. Now, there's been a lot of talk, a lot of rumors that what was going into Disaster, which we now have confirmation that the Run logo has been put up in Disaster. When that happened, we figured out, when we found out from the rumors that Run was coming back, the third version of Run, the first version would be more like the Running Man, the second one would be more like Hostel. What's this third one going to be like? A lot of rumors saying it's going to be Run in a prison. And it's interesting because we had that stuffed teddy bear that was actually over the walls that kind of was a little tongue-in-cheek thing to possibly link us to something, which may or may not mean anything. What I'm thinking right now is that, once again, Eddie will not be involved in this unless he is a minion. Not a minion like, not the green guys with the goggles. No, not that kind of a minion. I think he would be like a bodyguard, I guess you would say in this case. A little insurance policy, there you go. He's an insurance policy to make sure that if the maniacs can't get the job done for the contestants in Run 3, then he'll saw through them himself. So I think that something I've been saying for a long time, I think it's going to happen. I think Run's going to be ran by Chance this year. And I think that's going to be pretty awesome because you have Jack has a show, and then Chance can run. I didn't try to make that work, but that's how it lined up. I think that makes perfect sense. And then we see like maybe an Easter egg of Eddie. Maybe Eddie being the one, he'd be in the finale room with Chance. Like Chance is sitting up all sexy like on like a pedestal and everything, and you're going towards her, and it's like, you finally get to the prize. There you go. She's right in the middle on a big giant throne, and she's the prize. Your prize of finally being able to survive Run. And right when you get ready to get to her, here comes Eddie, and Eddie chases you right out of the house. That needs to happen, because I think it'd be glorious. So that's what we've got for this Halloween Horror Nights announcement. Our next one should be coming sooner rather than later. Scare LA will be announcing Rock Festival, and I got a good feeling that the event will be shaped up rather quickly when that is announced. And the images we've seen, I guess we will figure out exactly what they're going to be, even though we already know what it's going to be. And that video is going to come up very soon, too. I want to make sure I have that before, just like I did with Post-Punk, right before it got announced. So that's what we've got coming up, and I do want to do some quick shout-outs real quick. Those are going to be links in the description bar for both contests on both coasts. And if you want to follow Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood on Twitter, get the news from John Murdy and Chris Williams and A&D. Get the news from them straight up. It's at Horror Nights. If you want to follow Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando, you can get the news from Mike Aiello and, TJ Manarino and Rick Spencer and A&D. You can get that at Horror Nights ORL. And while you're at it, go ahead and tweet me. It's at Siro and Disney. Very simple, very easy to find. And if you like what you're seeing on this channel, you're more than welcome to subscribe to us here on Pop and like our Facebook fan page on Facebook. It's Sir Owen Disney Pop, or search for Sir Owen Disney and Pop. And you can friend request me at Owen Disney if you really like to. We're going to be probably setting up some Halloween Horror Nights meetups this year. So there's been a lot of information about doing meetups. I know Orlando United did one with the Trackers last year, and that was really successful, even though the rain kind of ruined a lot of it, but they still had a great time. Wish I would have been able to have been there when I was hanging out with Joe and his family. That was even cool. That was amazing, as always. Joe's one of my best friends, probably my best friend in Orlando, without a doubt. And that's going to happen again this year. But I will state right now that there's also a View from the Cheap Seats meetup that's coming up. We've got more information on that. I think Sir Owen Disney's going to have a meetup, so I'm going to probably have one myself, so stay tuned for more information on that. And check out some great Halloween Horror Nights forums at Inside Universal at ushforums.com, at Orlando United, as well as Horror Night Nightmares. Check out some great Halloween Horror Nights related sites like HHN Crypt and Designing Fear. And you also, those are .coms, by the way, if you were curious. Check out some great YouTube updaters. A lot of these guys are my awesome friends, and I'm very happy to be included in this great group of people. I shout out to my friend Darren, First Class Horror, Jeremy Films, Double Z, Thrill Seeker Network, HHN Phantom, HHN Fanboy, HHN Trogdor, my friend Matt, he's back finally, my friend James, HHN Updated 1, my friend Tristan, HHN Fan 16, and the Horror Nights Updaters, their collective channel, which is Horror Nights Updaters, as well as their singular channels, my friend Neil UK HHN, my friend David Crazy Englishman, my friend Vic, Dr. Emmett Brown 1, my friend Aaron, The Red Steel TV, and my friend John, Sakamesker Films. And also check out my good friend Ian at Scream 101 Ian. Also, check him out as well. So that's what we've got for this time and this announcement. Very soon, get ready for yet another Popcast. Halloween Horror Nights Popcast upcoming very soon. I look forward to that. Should be really fun. Going to have the usual suspects on there. We got 10 people on it last time. It was glorious. Let's see if we can do it yet again. With this announcement and the announcement at Scare LA, and I'm going to guess to be the next Orlando announcement, which may very well make me happy, or it was going to make me happy regardless, but whether it makes me really happy or it makes me realize, dang it, they're going to make me wait till the end. That podcast coming up very soon. So stay tuned for more information on that on my Twitter, on my Facebook fan page, and check out Pop on moviepilot.com. And coming soon, the Pop mobile app. If you have any iTunes-capable devices, you'll be able to access Pop on the go. So that being said, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.